wife, your two beautiful young girls, everything going on. You spend a lot of time leading up to this draft with one Mel Kiper, and I know you did yesterday, and will over the weeks ahead. I would say, I don't know, maybe this is incorrect, but it feels like perception-wise that maybe Mel is kind of jumping on the Penix train a little bit after the Daniel Jeremiahs and Charles Davis and some of the others have really ratcheted him up the old draft boards. Where does Mel sit today? Having spent time with him yesterday, where does Mel sit today on Michael Penix?
Yeah, I think Mel, and I think he and I see it similarly in this regard, feel as though the race for the fifth quarterback taken is a two-quarterback race. It's two familiar foes, and Michael Penix Jr. and Bo Nix, obviously. And I think that the reality with Mike is probably this, is he has a couple of question marks that teams are going to feel different about just based off of their medical staff. Obviously, that's a big part of it, right? You know, he's got two torn ACLs, he's got two shoulder injuries. He also is a quarterback who, while more athletic than people gave him credit for, which was evidenced by those two jumps in the 40 time, is not the same caliber of athlete as a Jaden Daniels or a Drake May. It's going to come down to style of play. What kind of quarterback, what kind of offense do you want to run? That, to me, more than each person's individual ranking, will decide which quarterback is fifth in this class and which quarterback is sixth in this class. So Mike is, he's got a certain magnetism as well that I think will shine through when he's doing these pre-draft interviews over the next 3 weeks, probably a couple of private workouts as well. I mean, the energy in that building when he was doing his jumps and his runs and in the throwing session, it was pretty clear that on a team full of future NFL draft picks that one was kind of the northern star for that Washington offense. It was, of course, Mike. So he's going to do really well for himself over the next 3 weeks. And I think the range for him could be as soon as the first 12 or 15 picks once we get to April 25th.
You get a sense as to what the heck the Seahawks are going to do with 16. We've been talking about it obviously for so long, and I'm still not sure any of us have too much of a clue what they're going to end up doing there.
No, so here's, as far as what I think happens at 16, my logic hat tells me, you got to keep hammering away at that offensive line. There are still some players that are available, and John Schneider has talked at times this offseason about how, there are ways that we can fill that guard spot, and we will continue to look into that guard spot after losing Damian Lewis and free agency and Phil Haynes, and, feeling like when healthy, their two young tackles are still going to be excellent players for quite some time. So it feels like guard would be a pretty logical starting point for Seattle. It feels like Troy Fautanu, if he's there at pick number 16, would be a hand-in-glove fit. He wouldn't have to move. He would have to move only positions. But I give him a ton of credit for this. He has talked openly during the process about how he's amenable to the idea of playing something besides left tackle, which I'm not trying to make this sound dramatic necessarily, but I find it fairly selfless of a kid who's been not a good left tackle, but an incredible left tackle to say, I'm cool. I'm good with moving a guard if that's what the team wants from me. I think there are others in his position that would say, screw you. No, I'm a left tackle. I've been a great left tackle. I've been, the front side protector for, arguably the best quarterback in college football for the past 2 years. So I'm going to stick it at left tackle. The fact that he's been open, at least during the pre-draft process, to playing on the right side, to me, I thought was really notable. Not on the right side, inside, I should say, is really notable, and I think will end up serving him really well as well. So Troy Fautanu, if he's there at 16, which I'm not totally certain he is, guys, it would be a great story, obviously, but, man, would it be a big, big value for them as well, given the fact that, at worst he's a really good offensive guard, but you have the flexibility that if one of the two tackles gets hurt, you have, your big number 55 moving back outside to his familiar spots and playing one of those two roles.
A sense his agent maybe in a couple years field is going to make sure he's a left tackle. I don't know. Maybe.
Doubt. I'll tell you what, though, Brock, it's starting to. It's a good time to be a guard these days. Guys that are. There's some big numbers. Robert Hunt got a 5-year, $100 million contract this offseason. Chris Lindstrom, another Massachusetts kid. Let's keep that theme going. Got a 5-year, $105 million deal. He's from Dartmouth, which is that's a tiny town in Mass. It's even I don't know where that is on the map, but he's a rich man. I'll tell you that much. And but you're right. I mean, it's actually been a little while since we had a young ascending left tackle that timed it up perfectly in free agency because teams are so aggressive in extending them early. So it won't be long before some offensive tackle signs for, 27, 28 million bucks a year. Next thing you know, we're talking about how tackles are once again way outpacing guards. But it's not a terrible time right now to be a guard.